Russian fighters overflying Dundee en route to a royal flypast. Seen from the cockpit of this Hawk jet belonging to the Red Arrows, the Russian knights were heading towards Balmoral to make the aerobatic equivalent of a bow before the Queen Mother. It was the Russian commander's wish to meet her. The Queen Mother thought a flypast by the Red Arrows and the Russian knights was the most appropriate introduction. And from her Deeside home at Birkhall, Her Majesty got the perfect view of an unprecedented sight: Russian and RAF jets in friendly flying formation. It was but a passing moment, for the two aerobatic teams were on their way to RAF Leuchars for tomorrow's Battle of Britain air show. At the Fife Air Base, there was already a feeling of culture shock as RAF men watched the giant Russian Ilyushin transporter land on what was once enemy territory. In times past, the reception for the Ilyushin and the Russian knights would have been somewhat hotter.
Well, of course, with Glasnost and all the changes that have occurred, we're living in a different world. So we're delighted to see the Russians here with an aerobatic team, and it's a first for the UK and very much a first for RAF Leuchars.
How do they compare to the Red Arrows?
Well, they're flying operational aircraft, they're very large, but as professional airmen, we're expecting a very professional display.
This was the first time Russian jets had landed at Leuchars, these Su-27 flanker aircraft giving a preview of what will be on view tomorrow. It will be the first public air display by the Russians in the UK, the first Russian planes at this base since World War II. Some RAF personnel here thought they'd never see the day. It's not unusual to see the Red Arrows at Leuchars. After all, it is one of NATO's prime bases, whose task has been to intercept Russian aircraft flying down from Norway. All the more strange then to see the Russians taxiing in here. Although later on the ground, glasnost and good wishes were flowing as Lieutenant General Nikolai Antoshkin met Air Marshal Sir John Kemble, Chief of Strike Command.
First days of our arrival demonstrated that our bonds of friendship are strengthening with every passing day.
The Russian pilot's message was that the flypast over Balmoral would never be forgotten.
Even 2 or 3 years ago, this sight would have been unthinkable. Now the great British public can see these crack Russian fighters in all their glory at close quarters.